Welcome once again to Dialogue on Public Issues. I'm John Chowning with Campbellsville University. As I noted in a prior show, we have several new administrators in our local schools, and we have been doing interviews with those new administrators. And today I'm very pleased to be hosting one of them, Mr. John Hall, the new principal at Taylor County High School. Mr. Hall, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background prior to coming to Taylor County High School.
All right. I won't go too far back, but I will say that I grew up in deep eastern Kentucky, in the mountains of Pike County. And then at my sophomore year of high school, family moved us to Menifee County. And a lot of folks may not know in this end of the state where Menifee County is located. It's about an hour and 15 minutes due east of Lexington.
Okay.
And in Menifee, went 3 years of high school and then ended up getting a scholarship to Morehead State University and attended there. And within that scholarship, it was the local telephone co-op and matching grant with the university. So I felt kind of obligated and wanted to go back and be an educator there in Menifee County. Taught special ed there for 6 years and followed that up by being their school leader at Menifee Elementary for 6 years. So after that 12 years, my wife and I felt an urge, maybe a calling to look for somewhere different.
Sure.
And our son at that time was in kindergarten. And we ended up in Barron County.
Okay.
So for the past 11 years, we lived in Barron County and was a principal at Temple Hill Elementary. My wife's teacher at Austin Tracy Elementary, and then our son went all through school at the elementary, middle, and 2 years of high school there. But now we're in Taylor County.
Right. Well, we're glad you're here.
Well,
Now, just a question, what prompted you to go into public education?
Well, education, our story may be a little different. Both my wife and I were special educators.
Okay.
In high school, we became peer tutors for special ed students. And my wife was my high school sweetheart. So,
Okay. That's great.
we dated through college as well. But anyway, through that, being a peer tutor, we got involved in Special Olympics, and we just fell in love with the students, and that needed an extra boost, an extra helping hand, didn't get things right away, and so we just really felt a calling to go into that field. And so we both did, and ended up getting jobs in the same year once we graduated in Menifee County. We had 2 openings. I thought, well, if that's not meant to be, then
It sounds like a divine sort of thing.
Absolutely, and so don't regret that a bit.
Sure.
It's a tough role. I appreciate our special educators.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
it's usually a short career for many, but I've had many friends over the years and colleagues that have done it for a lifetime, and that truly is a calling. So.
Now, you spent several years in administration, obviously, at the 2 different elementary schools in Menifee and Barron. What prompted you to apply to become principal at Taylor County? And once again, move. Maybe you're moving a little bit further east. And then to change from elementary to secondary or to high school.
Yeah, well, and that's a great question. And we are moving a little further east, but it wasn't about moving east, actually.
Right.
I felt the desire after 11 years at the elementary level, on top of the 12 years, prior to that in Menifee County, to explore some different options.
Sure.
And actually, I had applied for the superintendent job in Taylor County Schools.
Okay.
And through that search process, I had a lengthy conversation with Miss Benningfield, the principal last year at Taylor County High School. And within that, she sparked a lot of interest in me about things going on at the high school. And so went through the process and obviously didn't get the job, but had a great interview, met some great board members, and made some connections there that I really enjoyed. And then, lo and behold, I had just stepped back from that and thought, well, it's going to be okay. I'll just stay here in Barron County, and that was good. Had a good job, great situation, and the high school job opened up. And so it was intriguing to me. And so I contacted Miss Benningfield and said, hey, can we set up a meeting? I'd like to come and tour the high school. And thought maybe 45 minutes and get to know them before I prayed about it, actually, and then made a decision whether to apply or not. Well, about 2.5 hours later, I left the school. and obviously was more than intrigued. And so ended up consulting with my family. It's a big move.
Sure.
You know, obviously just an hour, 10 minutes away, but having a son that's a junior in high school and wife that would not be traveling that far as an educator as well. And so we prayed about it, made a decision to relocate. Well, I made a decision to apply, and obviously got the job.
Right.
And then we relocated, and in the process, my wife, there were several positions that opened. And within those positions that opened, she applied and was able to get one of those positions.
Good.
So it's been a good transition.
Right. What attracted you about Taylor County High School? I mean,
Well,
a beautiful building,
Yes.
Good reputation. Ms. Benningfield was
Yes.
excellent principal.
Yes.
From everything I hear and understand.
Absolutely.
Highly regarded.
And got to meet Miss Benningfield obviously, and she's moving up in administration. So I knew that that would be an asset for a new principal going
Right.
in. That she just served in that role. So that made the decision making process a little easier, and getting to know Mr. Higdon as well. But as far as the what attracted, we have several folks in Barron County that had come up to Campbellsville University.
Right.
And I've heard nothing but good things about this community, the size of this community,
Right.
and all the offerings in a county this size that really doesn't have a parkway or an interstate is impressive.
Right.
So those things attracted us to the area. Obviously, touring the new high school, and the sign out by the road says Campus of Innovation. It truly is a campus of innovation.
Right.
And as I'm learning every day, more and more offerings that we offer that a lot of high schools either don't or can't offer. So, having a son in high school, that was attractive to me. And then knowing that we have a good sports program as well, in all facets, in all areas, was attractive. Having a son that played 2 sports as well. So, I think a culminating package of things really drove our decision to pursue this. So.
Tell us a little, some of the highlights going on at Taylor County High School this year.
Wow, where do you start? There's a lot going on. I'll kind of digress a little bit. What I found out that's going on there is we have students going everywhere. We have students that, it took me a while to get used to it, to be honest with you. I'm like, well, where's that student going? Well, they're going over to CU for some classes. I thought, well, that's neat. How often does that happen? Oh, about every period of the day. We have them coming and going, signing in and signing out. Why is this student coming in late? Well, they weren't tardy. They've been working a job. They were a co-op student. And then we have the buses taking students to the vocational school. Right. We have some students who just needed a few credits, so they're doing some virtual classes, and some on campus, some off campus. We have a student, and I'll kind of go into this just a little bit, that works 4 days a week, 40-hour work week at Rame Construction, and he's the mechanic's right-hand man, but he's a high school senior. And he takes virtual online classes built by Mr. Shoemaker, our engineering teacher, but he comes 1 day a week to school. And recently visited Rame Construction up in Marion County, and John Hayden, he told me, he said, it was first that we wanted to get some apprenticeships going on with our local schools, and maybe some co-op situations, and we want to grow our own. He said, now it's coming to, we can't do without this young man. He's that important to them. And so his career is pretty much set for him already while he's getting a high school education.
That's exciting.
That's innovative.
It really is.
It really is. So to kind of piggyback off that, going forward, on September 20th, we're trying to narrow down a group of 30 students, juniors and seniors, that we're going to take to Rame Construction for a construction field day. Then 30 students will be coming, I think, from Marion and Nelson County as well. And they want to really grow their own crop. And they're going to have, but they've invited, I think, 8 different construction firms that are going to be there to bring some of their equipment, their expertise, the ownership. And it's just a field day of exposure to we need some field workers, we need some operators, we need some people who work in the business marketing side.
Right.
And so we're narrowing that group down right now, and we're excited about what this could lead to in the future.
It appears that essentially what you've done at Taylor County school system, and the high school especially, and this somewhat reflects statewide emphasis with career paths and so forth, but emphasis is more on the individual student within a framework, of course.
Right.
It's not just anything,
Yes.
but an organized framework. But preparing that individual student, and it's not. It's more the individual than just everybody gets the same thing. Everybody's getting the same training or curriculum or whatever. Is that a fair summary of what's going on?
And it is fair, and I think for so long, and rightly so, that we've encouraged students to further their education.
Sure.
And most of the time that's been at universities or colleges,
Right.
and we want to continue that.
Absolutely.
We're going to continue that because we're going to make sure that those dual credit classes that we partnership with Campbellsville University continue. We'll make sure that students are getting those advanced placement classes to be prepared for the college experience. Some students aren't geared for necessarily the college
Right.
experience, and lo and behold, just left a county in Barron County that my son come home one day after taking some electrician classes at vocational school, and he said, "Dad, did you know that the age of the business owners and electricians in Glasgow, Kentucky, 55 or older, and only one of them has a son working for him." So he was already aware because the high school was pushing that. Same thing's going on at Taylor County High School.
Right.
The students are being aware that those career paths are out there, but they're needed. The industry, I think, is driving that as well.
Right.
We don't want just students coming out and then us training them from the ground up. We'd like to train them while they're going to high school in co-op situations, summer programs, internships, apprenticeships, just like the Rame Construction student that goes up there, Frank Hayden. And we want to do more of that to prepare them for these career jobs, and not just to prepare them, but adequately prepare them. And so that's a drive right now across the state, and that's no exception in Taylor County.
And I'm not inferring that we're still not teaching, giving students a good, strong academic. There are certain basics, obviously, any student needs. But
Yes.
every student doesn't need to prepare for a liberal arts 4-year degree.
Right.
And I think that's a realization that we've come to in the last 10 to 20 years in education.
Right.
And I think in education, we've also, I've been in education a long time, and you're even more experienced than I am in public education. But we talked a long time about listening to business and industry, but we didn't.
Right.
Particularly at the higher ed level. We didn't sit down and talk and listen. And now we're realizing we want to produce students at Campbellsville University who can get jobs.
Absolutely.
And employable skills. So I think the entire education community in this country is realizing
Yes.
that this is a very, very important component. Another concern, obviously, among those top concerns of any parent or guardian or educator is school safety and security.
Oh, absolutely.
And in view of all the tragedies that we've had in the country over the last 20 years or so, including Marshall County, most recently here in Kentucky in the past 6 or 8 months. I know that a lot of steps have been taken in the Taylor County schools. Specifically, what have you done at Taylor County High School this year, this school year, to enhance safety and security?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Channing, that's a great question, and it's always, as an administrator, been the utmost of priorities as far as me as a principal of a school, and this is my third tenureship as a principal of a school. And there's something, I'll back up just a little bit, there's something I tell staff at any age that I've been a principal of in elementary and now high school, is this: we need to make sure that before we ever teach a student, we ever crack a book, we need to make sure that we've met their physical needs. It could be food on the weekend, it could be make sure they got clothes on their back, and some of them don't come adequately prepared, fed, or clothed.
Right.
And so we make sure we meet that. We make sure that we meet their emotional needs. And it could be a pat on the back, fist bump. It could be a hug, a counselor, or a clinical counselor. So the needs are varying. But once we've met the physical needs and the social and emotional needs, they need to make sure that they know they're in a safe and secure environment. Yeah, and I'm telling this to my staff, and my staff's relating that to the students. But then we need to make sure they are in a safe and secure environment. I can't say enough about Mr. Higdon, Superintendent Higdon's leadership in this, and being very proactive We've, all the staff at Taylor County Schools have done the active shooter drill within the high school, actually, because a lot of times in these tragic situations, those happen at the high school level,
Right.
unfortunately. There's been some other cases, but more so than
Generally, I
not,
think you're
generally.
right. Yeah.
But with that, with the active shooter situation, we partner with local law enforcement, city, county, state police, very professionally handled. It was an eye-opener.
Good.
It was an eye-opener, and I won't go into any of the details of what we did, but the staff, I think, will now think different, will be wiser if that ever, we pray that never happens.
Absolutely.
But just in case it does happen,
Right.
we've had a set of experiences we can draw from now that we didn't have before.
Right.
So, that's one thing. And obviously, we practice drills on top of that.
Sure.
And I'm very methodical. We don't miss a drill. We're going to practice a drill. And then I want to think through the process.
Right.
What are we doing in these drills? Are we, is it just mundane, do it, write it on a piece of paper? Or are we talking about what we're doing? Are we thinking through the process? And so I think we're on top of our game right now. But we just pray that
Now,
nothing.
you have school resource officers now in
yes.
all schools, right? As I
Yes.
understand, in Taylor County.
Every school, and again, not to brag on Superintendent Higdon too much, he'll get the big head, but no, he's done a great job. He has
Right.
partnership with county government and to help us provide another resource officer to make sure that all 4 of our school campuses, even though 3 of them are together, basically, all have their own resource officer, and that's huge. And that person's there as a staple of safety and security in case something did happen or go down. But they also are wonderful as far as I can speak for the high school of connecting with students.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that law enforcement, they can be your friend.
Right.
They are here to serve and not just to protect.
Right. Well, I can tell you as a grandparent of 2 Taylor County High School students, it makes me feel I sleep a little easier at night knowing that these measures are being taken, and I know I speak for the parents and guardians and folks in the community. And I think both of our school districts are going the extra mile, and I'm not the interviewee, but here at Campbellsville University we take it very seriously as well, and are taking measures and doing assessments and practice drills and so forth, because again, it could happen even in Campbellsville, Kentucky.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Right.
We pray it doesn't, but it could. Now, you are participating in the new Central Kentucky Career Academy.
Yes.
Mr. Higdon kind of took the lead on that. Ms. Benningfield was involved. City schools are involved. The university is a partner, the Area Tech Center. Tell us about that new Career Center and what the importance of it.
Well, for the Taylor County school system, we have basically, the importance of that is location, number one, and serving maybe more students than we're currently serving. And with a high school like Taylor County that we're going 7 periods a day, then when you do that, instead of having 6 periods or block scheduling, you kind of shrink the time for passing or transition or transportation to and from a center. But to have something within Campbellsville, now I have to say, I developed a relationship already with Dr. Wall at Greene County, and that's been a positive relationship. We have a couple of the nursing programs that will be at the Career Center actually housed in Taylor County High School as we speak. And within that, there's even some Campbellsville High School students that we've graciously accepted in, and that's went over great, by the way. But obviously, they want to have their own career center where they'll have more some things that are more accessible to them with the beds and things, and that's being set up. So we're in the process of getting some things finalized through, I think, our sprinkler system and a few widening of doors, things of that nature. And but until we've gotten final approval, we can't get a certificate of occupancy. So we're waiting on that. It could be as soon as next week. So we're excited. Met with Dr. Wall today, and a supervisor from the state over that program came from Louisville. Met her, and we talked about what needs to happen with our buildings between now and then. Do we need to do anything above and beyond? And they said they were very gracious to work with us and said that we'll make do until we actually get into the building.
Good.
So industrial maintenance was another area that they're going to have their own state-of-the-art shop there, that's a year away. It's probably next school year. So they're currently going down to Greene County Vocational School.
And I think, as I understand, the university will be doing some work there as well. I don't know the details of it.
Yes.
But our technology training center that we created years ago, under that umbrella, is going to be doing some work at the Career Academy as well. So
Okay, and I don't know all the details on that.
that's more for adult students at
Okay,
night
okay.
and the adult population, which is one of the components of the program overall.
Right,
And
right.
and for our audience, I'm sure most people know it, but it's at the location of the former elementary school.
Yes.
The old part torn down and the newer part being renovated and,
Right.
and cleaned up and so forth. So
Right, right.
it's going to be a great asset to the community.
Oh,
And again, it goes back to this, career paths and
Absolutely.
training, getting young people ready for employment.
absolutely.
Right out of high school or technical school or whatever
Right.
post-secondary opportunity they pursue. Taylor County has been, former Superintendent Cook launched this many years ago. It's worked well. Taylor County's received a lot of attention in Kentucky and beyond for it. This for lack of a better term, I'm not sure I'm using the right term, performance-based system. Tell us about that and how that works at the high school level as the students move on.
Well, it does kind of go hand in hand with the career paths. Where is this student at? Student A, where is student A at, and what path are they going to take? And not every student learns the same, or not every student can learn at the same pace or at the same location. There's a variety of things that we found out within the student populations, and I think this is obviously statewide, but at Taylor County High School is no exception, that some students really struggle with some of the social anxieties in big groups. Not that we're a large high school,
Right.
but we're large enough
Right.
that sometimes that poses a challenge. So those students can have a virtual curriculum, or some students can have a virtual performance-based curriculum, and sometimes some of those students will stay off campus and learn, and then we track that, we grade that, we pace that. Some students will do a hybrid. They'll come on campus for some days and then be off campus for some days. So we're excited to offer that to our students. And it is a self-paced program, but there's also, obviously, with any grading systems, you have to get so much in,
Right.
and you have to pass assessments at the end, and those things are very, very important. That's as much as I can tell you about that today. I'm still learning that process.
I understand.
But I like it that it's another pathway for our students to learn.
And again, this begins in elementary and continues through their high school career. I mean, you have elementary kids going to middle school, and I'm not sure I've got the right terms now.
Yes.
My 4 grandkids correct my terminology.
You're right.
But they move at one of our grandkids was at the middle school, but then would go to high school for most of the day. And so on.
And we have 8th graders coming up. You're exactly right. And I know that's easier for the primary, intermediate, middle schools.
Right.
Go on the same campus,
Yeah.
and they can walk the halls to an advanced class. But we have a bus that runs all day long, whether it's going to a vocational school and back and forth to the middle school for those 8th graders that are taking advanced classes. Yeah.
What are the biggest needs now in public education in general, not just Taylor County schools, but there's always needs,
Yes.
even when things are going
Yes.
pretty well.
Yes.
There are needs.
Well, gosh, we can all look at money,
Sure.
and funding, but funding for what? Funding for what? It's been a long time since we've been adequately funded for instructional materials, especially textbooks. I know a lot
Right.
of things are online,
Right.
but even online programs, that cost money. Assessments, they cost money. And so what happens is that high schools and school districts have to find a way through local revenues, through trying to reinvent what we spend money on, prioritizing to make those things happen. And we make it happen. No matter what, there's no excuses, we're going to make it happen. But, and then professional development. The state did not actually provide professional development money, and I know that's that's a state issue, and I know that they only have a certain amount of money to work with.
Right.
But the same token, being an educator, obviously I'm a little biased to where the money should be spent. But
Sure.
Professional development textbook, those are always going to be needs. That, but I think that Taylor County and many school districts are being very creative in what we're doing and how we're going to make it happen regardless.
Are you able to help those kids? Again, you talked about, and I think that's a compelling point about our public schools today are meeting so many needs of so many kids that come from life experiences that maybe they don't have the same advantages or opportunities that my kids have or your kids have, et cetera.
Right.
Are you able to help those kids who can't afford some of these additional technology fees and
Yes.
different things that I see my grandkids paying for or
Right.
helping them pay for in some instances?
Right, and we do through grants,
Okay, good.
through business partnerships, through
Right.
donations, and I can't say enough about the business partnerships for Taylor County School District within Taylor County and even some of the surrounding counties.
Right.
It's without their help, without their partnerships, we would have limited resources for those students and all of our students. But yes, and so there's never a student that goes without a need.
Good.
Those needs are always met, and they will make sure we'll give them the technology, the classes they need, and sometimes it's at no cost because they just can't afford it.
Right.
But we're going to make sure they have that pathway.
Sure. We're under a minute, so not a lot of time.
Yes.
What are some things that you have in your mind that you'd like to do that are maybe you're just thinking of,
Yes.
innovations?
Well, I've been talking to Mr. Higdon, Ms. Spenningfield, and the board. I really want to go visit some schools because we have some unfinished building projects at the high school campus.
Okay.
And then we're looking at future bonding potential.
Right.
And the board's made some good decisions that's going to increase that bonding potential. And so I appreciate their proactive approach. Obviously it'd be better if we had a football stadium, if we had
Right.
a
Sure.
bleachers, weight training room. JROTC, I believe in the future it's coming. And so I'm excited about that.
That would be great.
Yes.
Mr. Hall, we're out of time, excuse me. Thank you very much. God
Thank
bless you. Welcome to Campbellsville and Taylor County.
Thank you.
And look forward to talking again very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
This is John Chowning with Dialogue on Public Issues, thanking John Hall, our new Taylor County High School principal. Pray for him and others in our local school systems. Thank you and God bless.